So we're talking about individual brand equity and the fact that everything you do online is now captured, and the people you connect with and the tweets you do and all of that kind of thing. It's much more subtle than, you know, I was in the pub yesterday with a picture. We're talking about more subtle things that build brand equity. But what I was really interested is, you're talking about CEOs of the future maybe picked on how visible they are and what they're doing, and I agree with that. But I was going to say is, I think we're in an interesting time because we've now started to get this kind of influencer software, so things like Peer Index and Clout and those things. And really the hierarchies of the future, hierarchies used to be based on positioning, didn't it? So if you're a CEO and I was the post boy, you're more important than me in that organisation. But I think today, hierarchies are now becoming about how networked you are and how connected you are. And because that's so visible, you know, in the old days it'd be a Rolodex on a desk, no one would know necessarily. But now it's so visible that I think more and more, can you see a time when companies are starting to look at things like albeit that at the moment that's a fairly blunt instrument, but these things will get more sophisticated, where they'll want employees with a certain Clout score, a certain Peer Index score, because that will indicate that these people are visible and these people are, you know, connected.
It's an interesting point you make. I think a lot of things about social are just reworkings of what we do anyway. And I think if we were to go back 100 years, you'd often want to employ someone with a good contact book, who was very well connected. And, you know, the aristocracy were always incredibly well connected. You know, they would have an old-fashioned diary. Within it, they'd have half the princes of Europe, and they could call up one of them. And so that is, in a sense, that they are people of influence. And we hear about key persons of influence. That is never changed. And I think it's the online credibility and this visibility and these networks you have. I don't think that's changed. It's just the technology has allowed you. And I'll give you an example. I'm just working with a major hotel chain, and they just found me online. They had no idea who I was. They'd never heard of my company, never knew anything about me, and they just found me online. They were obviously searching for keywords, and I was very visible. And there's a huge amount about me online. I was approached by someone in Malaysia to do a training course in Malaysia. I mean, it's just incredible, really, that there's a businessman from Kent suddenly be asked by people in Malaysia, would you like to come to a conference, fly halfway around the world? But in a sense, and this is quite an important point, I've always been social. I am a social person by my essence. I've always had lots of friends. I've always been the one who organised the parties, the holidays, the weddings, the stag weekends. I'm a very social person. I like meeting people. I like networking. I do a lot of face-to-face business networking. And really what social is doing is magnifying that. But another interesting point is how many companies are truly social. They want to do social media. We'd love to be on Facebook. Well, we should be all over Twitter. But you're not social. You're not listening. You don't talk amongst yourselves. You don't care about your customers. You don't want to have any dialogue with your customers. So how can you be social? And so it is quite an interesting thing. There is a disconnect somehow. It's almost that social media is this incredibly new way of being a human. It's not. Humans have always done what they do. There's a phrase, social is the new campfire. You know, we were sitting in caves thousands of years ago talking around the campfire. We haven't changed. The technology has changed, and how you leverage that technology that's the key thing, I think.